All right, guys, I just wanted to hop on real quick, make a quick update off the ASTS trade that I took from Friday. I'm not going to really just go over the exact stuff that I talked about in that Friday's video on the recap, but I'll just kind of update of what happened and the reason I kind of swung these into Monday over the weekend, and kind of the reasons I started selling my final two contracts that I held over the weekend today. So obviously, this is a trade. If you look at it, it's already up 14% again, up 15% on Friday, up 14% today. So that's already a, what is this? I'm already losing my brain cells, but 30% move in 2 days off the shares alone. So obviously a huge move in the stock itself. And this looks like it really at this point wants to see all-time highs, right? This wants to see 100 very, very soon. I did have the January contract, so I did have some time on my expirations, but ended up selling my final two contracts today, with my last one being sold at like 180%. So really good trade in just 2 days. I mean, not even 2 full days, right? This is taken on Friday and sold today. So this is honestly a single day worth of a move that I was able to catch in 180%. So that was a really good trade. Kind of worked out exactly how I would have liked it to work out. So I'm happy about that. But obviously not going to complain, but there was a point where I wish I had more contracts in this trade to obviously hold this for potentially even like 1,000% trade, but not going to complain, right? We take these big wins like this and we find the next ones, right? So the reason I swung these over the weekend, so I already had that video talking about why I took it, so I'm just going to go over why I swung them over the weekend. And the reason is pretty simple, right? Like, there's just no reason after taking this breakout over 70 and watching how this closed, there was just no reason to sell this, right? This is basically from the open to close, just a rip up, right? There's no pullbacks at all. I mean, I can even go to the 15-minute, right? Not one pullback that Friday, which would have gave you any type of indication to sell this at the close, right? There was just no reason. This thing closed up at the highs. So obviously a super, super strong close of ASTS. So that was just the reasoning of wanting to swing this. And obviously there was still some targets that I wanted to see get hit before selling any of my position, right? Or selling the rest of my position. So today, obviously we opened up at that second take profit today. So only one of my take profits were hit on Friday, which is the reason I had a lot of my positions off. I end up typically selling a lot of my positions off at that first take profit, especially if it's a good, example, like 30-40% win. I'll end up selling a majority of my position and I'll hold a few runners for my second and third take profits, right? So my second profit point was at 77.7, which was this high here. And then my third take profit was at 80. Well, typically it was actually 85, but around $85, which was this top of this range here. And that's where I almost pretty much sold my last contract, right at 180% up here. And if I had more, this would easily be, targets to be seen up here at like 90, right? I'll even draw these out. If I had more contracts, this would be where I would be trimming here at 90, and then obviously up here at 100 would be that like that last take profit point, and then clear skies above, because that's all-time highs. So those would have been my take profit points if I had more to sell. But the reason I sold that first one this morning, so you can see here, I sold this first one 2 minutes into the open, right? So 8:32 for around 100%. So 100%, one contract left, right? From 2.7. So I bought these around 2.7. I can't remember the exact dollar amount I sold it for the 100%, but I mean, if it's 100%, then it'd be 5.4 right around. So sold it from 270 to 5.4 off of one contract, and was holding one left because I had two contracts only going into today. So reason I sold it at the open was because obviously my first take profit was hit around 77.7. And then what happens is I hold one more and ends up ripping to my third take profit, right? Around 85, end up selling it here. Do I regret it? No, but yes, right? Like this, I mean, there was no really indication of selling it at this point, right? You could still have held it through this level and just, you know, put a trailing stop loss in. But you know what? I'm not mad about it. So I'm not going to sit here and cry about it, right? Like I ended up probably leaving a couple $100% or a couple $100 off the table, but it's fine, right? We live with these. We don't want to sit here and sulk about it. So what is still a really good trade. So that was really the reason that I took these. And if you remember, the reason I took this in the first place was because of the RKLB setup, which was almost similar, but like one day ahead of ASTS. So you can see this was the Thursday, right, of RKLB with this, which was the breakout on RKLB, and ended up having that day 2 continuation. And we were talking about how ASTS was in this stage here. And now you can see this was exactly what happened on ASTS, which was this Friday's candle, which is basically happening today on ASTS. So you can see like this is this is very similar to what ASTS looks like right now. So obviously you can see RKLB putting in a 3rd day continuation here, you know, 2 consecutive gaps, and this thing just broke all-time highs here. So could this probably happen to ASTS? Yeah. But I mean, I'm not even gonna think about that, because at that point, yeah, those would be at like 500%. So not gonna think about it. But you can see the exact replica of the trade that we're in on ASTS looks exactly like this, and that was literally the reasoning I took that trade, right? Like, let's look at the entry here. So ASTS light size in case it wants to pull an RKLB. So just basically exactly the way I pictured it happened. So I'm really happy about that. Can't complain about it. But yeah, so that was the trade here off ASTS. Nothing more really to it. There probably will be more continuation here, but we'll take the win and we'll move on to the next one. We'll find another banger to make a video on.